guys, it's Maymay and check out today's card. I'm excited about this one. I'll tell you why. I saw this on the internet. I don't remember where, Pinterest or whatever. I'll try to find the link and put that below. But here's the thing. There were no instructions. There was kind of instructions, like there was a sketched out drawing, so that's kind of what I went with. And I will try to find that so you can see it. But watch what this card does. I think this is so cool. I'm not sure how to hold it so you guys can see it. But see how my tab here says pull? Let me get it up closer. That's from my action stamp set, and look at this. When you pull it, you get "You're the bee's knees." Isn't it cute as it can be? I think it is. And so we're going to make one of these today. So it says, "I've been thinking of you. You're the bee's knees." And I think this is adorable. Now the person who did this, I want to give them credit, so I'm going to try to link that below. I'm sure I can find it on my computer. But I love this. And this one I did using just yellow. This is yellow cardstock, a little strip of black cardstock, and then some white to do the stamping of the bee and things like that. And this is the stamp set I have in my store called the Bee's Knees. So you can see that one. Love it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So here's what you're going to need. I've pre-cut some paper to save us some time, but I want to tell you the dimensions, okay? And I have my ruler out because I always forget, and I want to make sure. This piece of paper is 6 inches wide by 8 3/4 long. Okay, so I'll stick it up here and we can see 8 3/4 by 6 inches. So that's what you're going to need for the card itself. Okay, then to create the slider mechanism, you're going to need 2 pieces. This piece is 1 inch wide and it is just slightly over 4 inches tall. So it's like 4 1/8 to give it a little bit of room when we fold the card. Okay, then this guy here I cut at 5 1/2 inches long, I think. See, I knew I'd have to check. Let's check one. No, 5 3/4 by 1 1/2 inches. Okay, this is the piece that's going to create the pull out. And let me show you why I did this one at 1 1/2 inches wide. On this one, I did it the same width as the hole, as the opening, and it kind of pokes through. If you push too hard, it'll poke through. And I'm going to try to make that not happen on my next card that we're making together, because I think it'll slide better if that doesn't poke through. It slides just fine, but if you push too hard, you get the poke through. So anyway, we're going to try to avoid that. Alright, so I'll put the dimensions below for you guys so you'll have it, and we're going to start scoring. Now scoring is going to seem a little intimidating, but it's not going to be bad, I promise. So we're going to start by scoring our card with the paper in our scoreboard the long way. So we're at the 8 3/4 inch length, okay? Now, we're making a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card. When we finish, that's what we'll have. So we need the card front itself to be 4 1/4. So you're going to score your first time at 4 1/4 on the long side of the paper. Okay, so that's the center fold of our card. Now at the base of the card, we need to make another score here. This is at 8 3/4. We need to come into 8 1/2 and make a score mark. This is going to be one of our fold ends. Okay, so just come into 8 1/2, and then let's turn it and do our other score marks. These are super easy, by the way. You're going to come in from your 6 inch, 1/4 inch, and score there, all the way down. Then I just like to flip it over and do 1/4 inch on the other side, all the way down. Now I'm going to show you what we've got, but I've done it in marker form so you can actually see it. This is what the score marks look like, okay? We did the middle fold, and then you have 1/4 inch on both sides, all the way around, but not at the top, okay? So just to make that look a little easier. Now notice I've got these X's here. These are the pieces we don't need. So we're going to cut away those 2 little pieces. So let me get my scissors. I'm going to use my little fine tip scissors on this. You don't have to, but I like to when I'm doing these little cuts like these. So I'm going to cut away here and snip into here. Now just remember, the part you don't need is the part that does not have the score at the bottom, okay? This is the front of the card. We're going to cut this away. You could put this in your paper trimmer if you're not comfortable, because this is your card itself. If you're not comfortable with doing this by hand, just stick it in your paper trimmer and let it cut it. But I'm going to do this by hand. I'm just a rebel, I guess. There we go. So there's one. Alright, and then you can flip it over. Look at the inside. Isn't that cute? So you can see what you're doing and just cut that one away. You can either cut down the center of your score or cut the score line off. You'll know what I mean when you start cutting. You'll see what I'm talking about. So here's what we're left with, okay? Basically, it's just a little jut in there. Now I want to do a couple of more things to make our folds super easy. Before we do any folding or anything, I'm going to come right down here to the bottom of this card and do a miter cut. I'm going to go right to that corner, which is, let me draw it so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So here's that base, okay? And what I'm going to do is come right here to the corner, and I'm going to cut in this manner. So we're going to take off some of this bulk and leave ourselves some points there. We're going to do that on both sides. So that's how my scissors are going to go. When I finish the cuts, I'll lay it down so you can see what it would look like. So there's one cut, and here's the other. Now in the same idea, because this will make this fold so much less bulky, I'm going to come right here to the top and do a little V-notch, and then come over here and do a little V-notch. No big deal. Super easy. I'm going to lay it down and let you see it. Matter of fact, I'm going to put it on the dark side and see if you can see it better. So we got a little notch and a little notch, and then we mitered those corners. Now this is where it might get a little more tricky, okay? We're going to cut a square out of the front of our card. And we want to make sure that we cut it in the place where we're going to have our tab pull out as well. So I'm going to fold this in half. I'm going to fold the top down, and I'm going to score it. Or crease it so I know it's where I need it to be. Okay. Now these pieces sticking out are going to get tucked in. That's what seals our card shut, so I'm not worried about those right now. But when I lay my piece down to cut this little section out, I want to make sure I know where to cut for my slider piece too, so that it lines up in the right place. So here's what I've done. I've created a little template for myself. Okay, so this is my template. It's 1 1/4 by 4 1/4. So that's the hole I'm going to cut out of the front of the card. Now you can eyeball it. It doesn't matter, because we're going to make this, we're going to tell our piece where to pull out after we make this cut, so it's no big deal. So I'm just going to eyeball it. You know I'm the queen of that, right? Okay, so that's about right. Now if you want it to be perfect, you want a 1/2 inch on this side, and that's almost perfect, and a 1/2 inch on this side. Okay? And then just get it as straight as you can. Now, I would use just a pencil or something you can erase, but there's no pencils in my craft room today. So we're going to use this white pen, plus maybe you'll be able to see what we're doing. I'm going to cover it up by decorating this border anyway, so even if you use a regular pen, it's not going to matter. So I'm tracing this guy out, just like so. So this is just your little template. So just have one of these for when you make these cards, so you can get this point marked for you on your card. So there you go. You may not can see it, but I can see it. There is a little rectangle there. I'm going to move the scoreboard out of the way because we're through with it now. Now you have options for this portion. If you're not comfortable with your X-Acto blade, don't use one. Just use your scissors, make a hole in the middle, and cut the square out, which is actually what I did on my first card. Let me show you. I just cut it out with scissors because I put this border on so you can't see it anyway, so it was no big deal. But to make this go a little bit faster, I'm going to use my blade because I don't mind using it. I'm pretty comfortable with it. So I'm just going to line this up, get to my mark and slice. I do have to slow down and look so I don't go too far because I tend to cut a little too far. So just want to look at that. Good deal. Now let's slice this one. Now I want to tell you, if you have a cutting machine that has some software where you can build card bases and things in, this would be super simple to build a card base. And as a matter of fact, if you would like one, if you want one for Cricut Design Space, that's about all I can do. That's what I've got. If you want one of those, I'll build one. Just let me know in the comments below if you'd be interested in having this as a cut file, and I can do that. Because if it's a cut file, you don't have to do all this work. You just cut it out from your machine and you have it that way. Alright, I got a couple little places here I need to slice just a tiny little bit off of to make those work. So there we go. That's what we're working with, okay? Now I'm going to close this down again, nice and snug. I'm even going to crease it because I opened it up, because I want it to stay in place. Now this is the piece that's going to go behind. Now I like to use the same color because I want it to kind of blend in seamlessly. Let me show you. See how I use the same color here so it kind of goes away? That's kind of what I like to do. So what I want to do at this point is put this piece in, make sure that it is covering that opening, and it is. And this is why I cut it a little wider, because I wanted it to actually sit in there really nicely. And you can kind of tell from the side if you're in a good spot or not, just looking at it. And here, you'll just make a little mark that you want to cut this out and this out. And then move that out of the way. Now, the reason we made this little mark is because when we fold this over, if this is here, it's going to seal this up, and we can't do that. We got to have a place for that slide to come out. So check this out. You're just going to slice into that right to the score line, slice into it here to the score line, and then we're going to cut that piece away. can hear y'all now watching me do this thinking, I want the cut file. And I will build it. I don't mind. So let me show you what we got. See how it looks kind of robotic? That's what we got. Now we're to the assembly part, which is super fun. Let me show you this before I seal it up. I want to show you what we got. Remember I told you needed this little strip that's going to go inside? See how this sits right inside of here, and it sits inside of our score lines? You probably can't tell that perfectly yet. This piece is going to glue to the top of it, and it will stick out from where we just made that notch. Okay, so we'll be able to pull this, and it'll move the whole thing. It's going to make sense as we get going, I promise. All right, I say that all the time. Somebody said to me the other day, do you know you say that all the time, that it'll make sense when we get going? Well, it will eventually. All right, so I'm going to crease this down good, like so. I'm going to crease these sides. Now, by making those notches, you might wonder why we had to do that. When you fold this piece down on that notch that you made, it takes the bulk out. If you leave it blunt, you get some bulk in your turn, and it's okay. I didn't do it in my first one, and you probably can't even tell it, but I thought that needed to come out. When I was folding, I noticed it needed to come out. All right, so let's bend this one up on the score line, crease it into place. I can't wait to show you what I'm going to use on this one. It's really cute. Okay, so this is the interior of our card, okay? So you're actually going to stamp on the inside. This piece is going to show from the outside. Let me show you. It's going to sit into this area here, okay? So when you fold it, it's going to show from the outside. So you can stamp a sentiment here. I did too. See how I stamped one there? But you also want something on the inside so that when this slides, let me show you what I'm talking about. So that when this slides out, you have something back there to read. Makes sense? Now, I know that those stars look super cute in there. They really do. But I'm going to put something in here that I can stamp on the inside that you can see and not have to put any bulk in there, because I want to stamp flat down. So I'm going to cut a piece of paper to sit inside here. And listen, this is a great place to use up a scrap. Now, this is the piece I'm going to use. It's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. The reason for that, and I'm going to show you, I don't want to add bulk. I want to be able to slide this in just like this, so that when I put my slider in, it'll be able to move without catching on anything. But I like how it's covering everything on the inside, okay? So this is going to be easy. I'm just going to glue this down. So I think by adding this piece to it, we're going to get an easier to slide piece, because the card itself is going to have enough body that we're not having to hold it funny to make that happen. All right, so we got the glue in place. I'm going to put this guy in. I'm just going to open these out to make it easier. So just lay him into place here. And he won't go all the way to your score lines. That's good. We don't want to cross any score lines. We want to keep them open and free there. Okay, so before I assemble, I'm going to stamp. That way, if I need to lay anything in a different position or anything funny, I'll know exactly what I'm doing. Now, I can stamp through this piece of paper. That's not going to be a problem. So let me squish that down good. Or you can take your pen or pencil and make some marks to know where to stamp. I'm just going to stamp through it because I don't really want to make a mark on there. Alright, so what I'm going to use is from my stamp set, which you've seen a lot of lately. This is Chin Up Buttercup. And let me see which one I had in mind. Oh, on the front, on the inside, it's going to say, "Times are tough, you are tougher." And then on the inside, when you slide it, it's going to say, "You've got this." If it fits. Oh, it's just going to fit. Love it. Okay, see, I hadn't even tried it before now, so I'm glad it's going to work. All right, let's get some ink. Wait till you see what I'm putting on it. I'm in love with this card. A friend of mine's dad is going through some health problems, and I was like, you know, what would you send a guy? And I just think this is going to be cute. So if you have any gentlemen in your life that are going through some things, you might like this too. So you just want to stamp this sentiment to the far left, or over to the left hand side. Now I just realized I'm putting this on some textured paper. Oh, it came out okay. That paper is some textured Nina cardstock I got from Walmart, and by the way, it's amazing. I love it. So if you're looking for any great cardstock, that's good stuff, but it's kind of expensive from Walmart. It's almost $5 a pack, and you don't get a big old pack of it, so kind of expensive. And then this one that we're going to stamp on our yellow piece, I thought I lost my yellow piece. That would be bad. It's going to lay just like this, okay? And we can close this down on top so we know we're stamping in the right place. And I'm going to stamp it to say, "Times are tough, you are tougher." So put that on the block. sat my stamps on something fuzzy. Never do that. That's why you need to have them in your little notebook or something, because once you get fuzz on them, they're so sticky, which is good. You want them to be sticky, but everything's sticking. Okay. So I'm going to put this one right here. Times are tough. You are tougher. Oh, that's cute. Okay. Close this dude up. Now we can start to assemble. All right. So, you see we've got our sentiment on the inside, and when this slides out of the way, you're going to see it, okay, and that's going to come out here. So the next thing we need to do is take that piece we cut to go on the inside to be our slider, to be our, really it's a placeholder for our slider is what it is. And we're going to put this right on top, but here's what you'll do. You'll add some glue just to that little placeholder, okay, that we created. Then you're going to take this guy and lay it into its little slot, and line it up with that slider. So you're going to make a piece that is like a T. Alright, I'm going to lift it up and show you. That's what it's going to look like. It's like a T. And what this will do is when we close it, it's going to hold it into place so it can't be pulled all the way out. Which is not going to anyway when I put some stuff on it, but that's how that's going to look. Now one thing I do want to do before I seal this down, these are things I learned the hard way, is I want to round the corners of this little guy before I seal it in, and I'm going to use my 1/2" corner rounder to just give this a little bit of finished look on that end. And I have one more stamp I need to use. I almost forgot. I want to use from my action stamp set the one that says pull. Now you can use the one that says slide. Let's do that one this time. I've never used it, so let's use slide instead of pull. Get my ink back over here. Ink this little guy up. I think this stamp set is probably one of my favorites to date. I gotta be honest, I have used it for more little things like this. So I'm just gonna stamp the word slide right there. You can do pull, pull me, pull this way with an arrow. There's so many different things on here. This is the one a lot of you asked me about that has the place photo here stamp. So this is called Action, and it's in stock. So go grab it while it's there. Okay, let's put this guy together. I'm excited about it. Alright, so we'll put this guy in. We're going to close these guys back down so we can add glue to them. And see how they're just going to kind of enclose that piece? That's what's going to happen. And I'm going to use wet glue because I want to be able to kind of maneuver things once I get it into place. So I'm going to start here on this end and use my art glitter glue on this flap on the outside of it. And then I'm going to do the outside of this flap. I just don't think using the dry tape here is going to be as effective because you're not going to be able to move if you get off a little bit. Alright, now this guy comes over and we just seal those down into place. Just pushing them down into there. That's why I like the wet glue. See how I can kind of maneuver it for a second before it's permanent. Not long though, because it's art glitter glue and you know how that stuff works. It is amazing. I'm really loving this, guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, now I want to show you what I did. I took some strips of paper. Let me find it because now I've lost it. Here they are, right where I put them. I took some strips of paper and I cut in a coordinating color to what I'm going to put on the front. And I like to do the little frame around here. I think it makes it look really clean and neat. So I'm going to just glue this down and do a little frame. And these are 1/4 inch pieces. So I want them to overlap about 1/4 inch so that they can line up good. So here's what I did the first time. I just laid it in place and just kind of snipped around instead of measuring, because I'm not a big measurer. Then just put some glitter glue down and lay our little frame into place. And I just put it right to the opening. I didn't overlap or anything. I just put it right to it. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece down and cut it away after I've got it down. A little bit of glue. Stick this down right to the edge. Don't you love when people make projects and put them online so we can, you know, get inspired? I do, because I'm going to tell you, I would have never thought of this. Never. So I appreciate that person. Now, like I said, I'm going to find that link and put it down below to give them credit, because they did an awesome job on this card. Okay, a little more glue on top. I was going to go back under there a little bit, but I don't think I need to. If I can't pick it up, it's not going to come off. Put this little guy down. Now don't let this card intimidate you. I know it seems like a lot of steps, but when you break it down and do a little at a time, you'll be able to do it. Don't let it intimidate you. Just do it one step at a time. Now notice I don't have quite enough. I went ahead and cut myself 2 strips because I felt like that would probably happen. So I'm just going to add this little strip here and make sure. Yep, we're good. Okay. I just think this little frame really makes that pop. So I'm zooming in for this part so you guys can see it. Look what we're going to use on the front. Isn't he tough? I think he looks tough. And I'm also going to use this little circus banner. This came in a paper pack from, Bo Bunny. This was Bo Bunny. And I can't remember the name. It was like Life's a Circus or something like that, which makes a lot of sense for my family because sometimes life can be a circus. And I'm going to see how much of this I want because I want it to be angled. So I'm probably going to cut some of this off. I think I'll cut one. Do I need to even cut a whole one? Let's see if I go this way. Let's go that way. I'm going to glue this down first. Now you need to keep this out of the way of your slider because your little piece is going to slide across. So you want to make sure you keep this, you know, way out of your way. Just glue that like right past the sliders where I'm putting it. Then I'm going to cut the excess off. Not with those scissors though because there's a little bit of glue. So I'm going to use these scissors. Super cute there in the corner. Now we get to put this guy down and he is adorable. He's going to go on, but he's going to go on some foam tape, some dimensional tape. So we're going to lift him up a little bit. And I'm actually going to use my roll of it. I'm going to use this one so I can build him up as high as I want. And on my B, let me show you on this card. You might be shocked. I put it up on 3 pieces because I wanted to make sure that it would not grab anywhere. See how that is so thin. I should have done that with a thicker cardstock, but I didn't. But I wanted to make sure that it didn't grab anywhere. So that's 3 pieces of foam. So I cut about 1 inch. And then I cut myself some strips. Just so that I could get this lifted up a good bit. And I'm thinking I want this guy a little bit tilted. Do I? Maybe tilted this way. Yeah, because that looks like he's working real hard. So I'm going to put my foam tape in this area. Make sure that can clear the area for us. Yep. Okay. Peel off the first backer. Add the next one right on top. If you feel comfortable with your dimensional, just use 2. But remember, this is the thinner dimensional. This is the like 1/8 of an inch. It's actually maybe even a 1/16 of an inch thick. So that's why I use multiple layers. And then I'm going to turn it where I can see where the foam tape is and put him in here this way. Just like that. Cute, cute. Now let's slide it and see what we get. I never know how to, see I want to hold it and you won't be able to see if I hold it right. Look at this. Times are tough. You are tougher. You got this. I love this card. Now, I will tell you they slide better as you work it a little bit because, you know, you got some paper in there. You got to loosen it up. So the more you mess with it, the better they slide. But I just love this little guy. I think he is adorable. Tell me what you think. And again, if you're interested in the cut file, I'll be glad to make a cut file for you guys if you want me to. Just let me know. So there's the 2 I did, and I want to say thank you to the person that created this and put it online. Look below for their link and you can go check it out because they did do a sketch of the card, so it might help you to kind of see the sketch in your head before you start to build it. But there you go. Hey, thanks so much for watching, guys. If you're interested in any of the stamp sets I showed you today, they're available in my Etsy store, and I appreciate your support there and in all the other places you guys support me. You are awesome, and I appreciate you so much. Have a great one. I'll see you on Friday. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.